aka Diz, and this is the Force always.
Okay, so welcome to the show. Let's get on with it all. The Star Wars news. Later on in the show, in the review section, there will be a review on the latest episode from Disney Plus's new series called Disney Gallery on the Mandalorian. It's episode 5, behind the scenes, you could say. It's called Practical, and that will be later on the show, and that's pretty much making part of the news this week. So check that out. Disney Plus, if you've got it, go to Disney Gallery and you'll see the Mandalorian and the behind the scenes. It's into its 5th episode in this series. That's on Disney Plus right now. To more news, it is actually 89 days to Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim. There's been no movement of cancellation or anything like that. It is pretty close, and all tickets have not been sold, but any announcements of it being confirmed, absolutely confirmed, has not been made. Any cancellations has not been made, but just to let you know, it's 89 days away. That Star Wars Celebration going to be in Anaheim. Going to be some things to look forward to with that, wishingly. In the way, that's the Star Wars news for this time around. Let's get into the views. Views is not what one gets on a YouTube channel, essentially mine, but it doesn't matter. Every time I'm here, I keep rocking. And it's not really about predictions. It's actually about my story ideas within Star Wars. This one is going to be an unusual one again. It's not a complete story idea, but in this last week, we had a number of people, fans, come to an event, let's say, quite an event, increasingly popular event, which is called Make Solo 2 Happen. Now, I am a fan of Solo. I thought Solo was great. I thought, just again, with this whole Star Wars dislike within the community, but there's a lot of like in there, because you really do feel the like with the Star Wars community, especially at Star Wars Celebration. I've been to the last 2 ones, and I felt like it's such an embrace there. But anyway, Make Star Wars 2 Happen. My story idea would be, I think it can happen, but I think the story of Solo, Han Solo, would be a little bit exhausted. Personally, where the film Solo, they really sort of started to accelerate was the very end, and this is a spoiler if you haven't seen it. When we saw Maul, not Darth Maul, because at this stage in the timeline of Star Wars, he's known as Maul. At the end, speaking to his apprentice, and I've forgotten her name, my goodness, I've forgotten her name. That really intrigued the whole story idea. And even though this is not my complete original idea, but it definitely came from myself in the beginning, like all us Star Wars fans. To see Maul become a solo act within Solo 2, that being the story, would be the best next chapter of Solo 2. The only problem, it does confuse the title and the actual story, but that's the only way I can really see that particular story happen. It would be great to see Solo go on a whole lot of adventures, with Jabba the Hutt. We assume that's where he was headed to next after Solo, the actual story, finished. But I think it would be something unique, and the fans would love to see Solo be about the Solo career, if you were to put it, of Maul at that point with his organisation, Crimson Dawn, Crimson. I think it's Crimson Dawn, and I think that's how I would like to see Solo become. But unfortunately, it does confuse the title and the actual movie. But the movie may be that good that Solo 2 could become a phenomenon in itself. You would, do things like create the title instead of being yellow, being red. That could be a way of making it distinguishable. But yeah, I would love to see Solo 2, no matter what direction it takes, happen. That's what I'd like to do. I'd like to see. I personally would love to do. The numbers at the box office doesn't point towards it happening, but and the overall like and dislike was a bit sort of here and there. I don't think it was, massively liked. Personally, I thought it was very good. I rated it very high when it came out. The friends that I went to see it with here in Australia really liked it too. It was very entertaining. But anyway, so that's what I would like to happen in my story idea, is Solo 2 to happen, but really about Maul being the solo act within the Star Wars universe. Anyway, that's my views for this time around. Let's get into reviews. Reviews is about episode 5 on Disney Plus's series called Disney Gallery, and it's about the Mandalorian. It's behind the scenes, technically. That's what it is. All these titles about the actual the name of this particular TV series it's a little bit daunting. So many little bits and pieces you've got to remember. But anyway, episode 5, it was, the type of episode that I thought was enjoyable. It's a behind the scenes sort of thing. It's fantastic. The only thing I'll say is that it's a behind the scenes thing that we've experienced before, Star Wars fans. It wasn't that new. It was good to see the workings of Baby Yoda and the development of that in a little brief way. It was really a pinnacle moment when Jon Favreau really, realized that this was the Baby Yoda, the look of what he wanted. It was very specific. They went through a number of drafts of a Baby Yoda. That was good. The only thing is that I love Dave Filoni, and in fact I think he's given a great understanding of lots of things, but the little speech that was towards the end of this particular episode 5, practical, it was a little bit draining. Like it wasn't. It was sort of trying to get back into the Star Wars love again that we all have. It was a bit repetitive, but once again, Filoni is definitely, he's very ingrained in the religious and the love aspect of Star Wars, as us Star Wars fans are. But I thought the episode, look, I usually say straight off the bat, but I would give this episode an 8 out of 10. It was a behind the scenes type of thing you want to see, but it was definitely something we've seen before, without anything that is, brand new and really mind-blowing. It was a good episode, not a great episode, not a bad episode, just good. 8 out of 10 for episode 5, practical, Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian. Check that out now on Disney Plus. Anyway, let's get on. That's the reviews. Let's get on now into the interviews. Interviews is 2Q. That's 2 questions where I ask myself, for you guys out there. First question is, do I think Solo 2 is actually going to happen? It will be a miracle. It will be a blessing, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think that the financial realization of this film from the first is just not going to have it be worthy to go a second, which is, for me, unfortunate. And when I say, is it going to happen, that means, being released in a theatrical release, pushed as a movie, blah 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 down the line, Blu-ray, DVD, the classic way of releasing movie on the big screen, being promoted, things like this. I don't think that's going to happen. It may be a mini-series. It may be a brand new series. It may be a one-off movie for Disney Plus or something like this. It may be a something down the line, maybe just straight to Blu-ray or DVD. I don't know. I think it's a bit too much for that, but I just don't think it's going to happen from the financial aspect of the last film, Solo, which is unfortunate, but I don't think it's going to happen. That's the answer to the question right there. So my second question, what film should Star Wars release? Now this one here is, you can take it with, as what people say, grain of salt, but I personally still think to really revitalize the whole Star Wars thing, it's like a secret package that's not so much of a secret, but I think a pure Darth Vader film would be great, but it would have to be a very violent, very graphic type of film, which would portray Darth Vader, unfortunately, to kids in probably an extreme different light, which you'd have to be careful of, especially coming from Disney. But I think a Darth Vader film would be great. I know a lot of us out there know about Darth Vader and what's happened, but there's a lot of juicy elements there. That's what I think, as a commercially speaking type of film, that would be great to be put out there. Personally, I'd love to see a Darth Plagueis series, which is, before technically episode 1, that's Phantom Menace, the whole storyline, or actually sort of partly it sort of crosses over there without being told, but at the start of episode 1. But I think personally, I think a Darth Vader film would be an exciting thing to a lot of people, but there would be a little bit of fatigue with the Darth Vader thing with some. But I think generally, you could really just make this such a visual spectacular, and there was a great sort of storyline there, especially between episode 4 and between episode 4 and 5. There's between episode 3 and episode 4. I do apologize. Episode 3 and episode 4. There's still a big area there you could cover, and that's probably the highlight of Darth Vader's career. But that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see a Darth Vader film, a proper, official Darth Vader film to be released. Secondly, not so excited way, but I would love to see Darth Plagueis series. I think a series would be just amazing, especially on Disney Plus. It would be great, but whether that will happen, that's another far-fetched thing that's going to happen. But anyway, so that is my interviews for this week. This is a weekly Star Wars show, where I tell you about the Star Wars news, what's happening. It could be a minimal amount, it could be a lot. At the moment, we're just in a bit of, the world is dealing with the whole COVID thing at the moment, so we're all probably re-watching a lot of Star Wars at the moment. So that's pretty much this week. We've got Star Wars news, views, reviews, interviews here on a weekly basis. And until next time, keep rocking.